Hi guys, Lewis here for this week's edition of Piranha Bites. So, very exciting week for me every month. Nightwing's out. I've been saying this is my favourite title on the shelves, and this week may not be true anymore. It's really good, but it's a flashback issue, generally exploring the relationship between Tony Zuko and Dick, and how he's related to. I'm not going to say anything in case people haven't read it, but if you've read it, you know what I mean. It's really good, but with flashback issues, I kind of, I want them to get on with the current story going on. Still really good though, no complaints, but something else came out that I was slightly more in favour of, and it's still my man Tom Taylor. Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 1. Superman's my joint favourite character. In fact, he's kind of part of Nightwing's namesake, so I do love a bit of Superman, and I love good Superman. It hurts me to admit it, there's not a lot of that going around lately, so it's really good to have a title that we can rally behind. Kind of what I said about Batman Detective when that started. Tom Taylor doing the best Batman title, now all of a sudden also doing the best Superman title. Obviously, from the name, it's about the son of Superman, so it's about Jonathan Kent taking up the mantle and everything. It starts out the day he was born and sort of explores the high expectations and the weight on his shoulders just by virtue of being him. Touches, a lot of nice emotional beats if you're connected to the character, and yeah, it sets up for a really interesting story. I think we're in for a good ride here. So yeah, honestly, that's my pick of the week out of what I've read anyway. Now some other highlights I think that deserve your attention. Batman Reptilian issue 2. Not got round to this yet, mainly because Tom Taylor got 2 books out. How dare he? But yeah, Garth Ennis doing Batman. I remember when I gave you guys a little bit on the first one when that came out. I'm really looking forward to reading the second. Garth Ennis being his dark, broody best for a character who is perpetually dark and broody. So there you go. Warning before the next couple of titles, it's going to be a bit of Batman overload, but that's because he's everywhere, and he's everywhere because he's the best. So, Batman Secret Files Huntress. I normally wouldn't care for like a one-shot about a fringe character, to be honest, but it's Mariko Tamaki. I really like her. Mariko Tamaki and David Lapham. It's David Lapham on the art, which I prefer him writing more than art, but I'll take it. He's not normally doing mainstream superhero work, so it's quite interesting to see him doing that again. And yeah, Huntress is a cool character. So if you don't know much about her, that's a perfect opportunity to check that out and dig into a bit of her background. Batman Superman issue 20, to my pain and disdain, keeps on getting underrated, but whatever. Really fun read. Check it out if you're not already. That's really all I can say, because I've said enough about this on previous episodes already. New number 1 at IDW, Bermuda. Now, not had a chance to read this yet, but it is John Layman, who, I was going to say he's not done anything in a while, and I realise he's currently doing the Chew sequel series, but he hasn't been doing a lot lately, put it that way. So, for those of you that are big fans of Chew, he's doing another book at the moment. Check it out. Black Hammer Visions, issue 6. I'm a massive Jeff Lemire fan. I think he's one of the best writers currently working in comics. And while this isn't actually him, it's his world. It even says the top, from the world of Black Hammer. That is definitely his wheelhouse. But it's got Colin Bumstead writing this issue, who is no slouch at all. I used to not really care too much for him because he was mainly a Deadpool writer. That was where he got most of his rep from and whatever. But his indie stuff's really good, like Harrow County, Unbound. He's currently doing Basilisk at Boom, which is really good. Yeah, you're guaranteed for a good read when you check out his indie stuff. So, by all means, check out the latest issue of Black Hammer Visions. Berserker issue 4. Keanu Reeves, or not, continues to be immortal and slaughtering everyone in sight. So, if you're in for that level of action, check this out. It's only 4 issues in, so you can even go back to issue 1. But the whole thing about this book that I always find really interesting is the top of the billing is Keanu Reeves with Matt Kinn. And I really like Matt Kinn. I think he's underrated. And that brings me on to my kind of From the Vault Gold and oldie pick this week. Folklords. That's something that Matt Kinn did over at Boom. Really interesting, a hell of a lot of fun. So if you see on the cover here, most of the setting and the background looks kind of like, I don't know, the Shire from Lord of the Rings, except the main character. He's dressed like us. And that's because our world to them is the fantasy world that doesn't exist. And this kid, the main character, is the only one that believes it does. And everyone's like, oh, you're crazy, whatever. And he makes it his mission to find our world. Really interesting, a lot of fun, plays with some fantasy tropes in a really interesting way. So I really suggest that if you've not checked it out already. Coming to the end soon, but Daredevil issue 32. Read it. Honestly, like in terms of Marvel's output, it's been one of the best, most consistent titles out. You put it right up there with your Thors and your Immortal Hulks. I don't know if it's underrated or appropriately rated, but it is one of our biggest titles in store. And there's a reason for that. It completely deserves it. Zarski's the man. He's killing it. Probably the best thing at Marvel right now. Either him or Cates. They'd almost be like the equivalent to maybe Tom Taylor and Tom King over at DC. Every publisher has to have their big creators, otherwise they're a bit stuffed, to be honest. And finally, I'm a bit more warm into this title since I read the first trade. Department of Truth issue 11. Read the first trade the other day or whatever. You may have seen it on my indie pick. We do the weekly reviews of indie books from here, there, and everywhere. Department of Truth's really good. Probably the best thing I've read from Tinian, unless you count his Detective Comic stuff. It's right up there. The art's amazing. If you're into conspiracy theories and stuff like that, by all means, check it out. And that's me done pretty much. For a complete list of everything out, check out Dave's newsletter that will be around to you in the coming hours, probably. Until next week, take care, everyone.
Piranha.